The MA in Race and Resistance is one of the few MA programs, certainly in the United Kingdom, that gives students the opportunity to explore in a kind of structured program the histories, the theories, the practices of systems of racial control on the one hand, and movements for liberation and for freedom that react against them on the other, and to do that drawing on a range of expertise within the University of Leeds. The programme has a compulsory core, an Approaches to Race module, which is about exploring the theory and practices of racial oppression and resistance to racial control in a range of historical contexts. So the programme ranges from 18th century through to the contemporary world, and students get to explore histories of race and resistance in the former British Empire, in the United States, and in South America. And so within that kind of broad framework, there's quite a lot of flexibility around option modules that students can take. And the programme was designed to be multidisciplinary, to introduce students not just to modules taught by historians, but also by our colleagues in departments of English, sociology, politics, for example. So students have been able, if they wanted, to take various kinds of combinations, either focusing largely on history modules, or taking modules on literature, modules from the language department, from area studies, from politics. And they've also been able to focus on particular areas such as Africa, Asia, the United States, or to range more broadly if they prefer. We've had some really interesting dissertations on, again, a whole range of different topics. The role of Caribbean intellectuals in formulating strategies and ideas about resisting racial oppression. Students have written on apartheid South Africa. They've written on the American Civil Rights Movement, and they've written on the nature of the colonial state in Africa and in India, for example. Colleagues in the School of History that deliver the MA in Race and Resistance are all linked to the research cluster, which is called Identity, Power and Protest. And that research cluster delivers a number of research seminars throughout the year. There's a research seminar for American studies, there's one on South Asian studies, African history. So that involves bringing in visiting speakers from across the UK and further afield to talk on topics around those subjects, which will be often of interest to students taking the MA in Race and Resistance. And we also usually every year organise at least one-off event, bring in a guest speaker, deliver some kind of workshop for students as well. So the teaching of the module is fully integrated into the research environment of the school, and we encourage the MA students on the programme to kind of take full opportunity of that. So the Brotherton Library is one of the best research libraries in the United Kingdom, and over the last 5 or 10 years we've worked hard to develop its collections specifically to support the MA in Race and Resistance, not least to provide primary source materials for students writing their MA dissertations. So we have a range of different primary source materials, including microfilm collections that relate, for example, to the American Civil Rights Movement. We have access to quite a lot of digital newspapers, including Black American newspapers and also newspapers from around the former British Empire. And we have records that relate to the colonial state, for example. So students don't have too much trouble in finding really rich materials to work with.